So the question is breastfeeding exhausted, or will I be tired all the time breastfeeding my baby? So no matter what way you feed your baby, there's no doubt about it that having a newborn baby can be really exhausting and tiring. And one thing to bear in mind is that your body has gone through a huge transition between pregnancy, birth, and now postpartum. So physically, that's exhausting. Emotionally, that can be very draining as well. And hormonally, there's so much going on. And of course, now you're producing breast milk to sustain your new baby and nourish your new baby. So, of course, that is going to take up a lot of energy. The good news is that actually breastfed babies, on average, statistically, get more sleep than formula-fed babies, only by a very small amount. But that is the good news, because sometimes it can feel like, oh, maybe if my baby was formula-fed, bottle-fed, they may get more sleep. But that's not the case, we know from evidence. Another thing to bear in mind is that in your breast milk is something called a hormone called prolactin, and that is produced by your bloodstream and goes directly into your breast milk. And that actually has a really lulling, sleepy type of effect, helping your baby to soothe and settle and go to sleep more easily. But it also has the same effect on you. So it calms your nervous system and helps you to settle down and kind of relax a little bit more. So you're able to kind of switch off a little bit more and unwind easier than somebody who's not breastfeeding. Another thing to bear in mind is that, of course, it's that old sleep when the baby sleeps, but it's true. It's a cliche because it's true. When you can rest when your baby is resting, then you're really maximizing the amount of sleep and energy. So that can be really, really useful to think about your environment and where it is that you can rest safely with your baby, so that you can really maximize the amount of time you're able to rest and sleep. So look into things like safe bed sharing, look into things like cots that are attached to the bed, so you can comfortably fall asleep and not worry about your baby, and you can still meet your baby's needs while you're resting. Really thinking about the postpartum when you're pregnant can really pay off. Mums that are feeling more supported to really honour that postpartum time and rest as much as possible and stay in bed as much as possible in those early weeks will generally feel a lot better for it and have higher energy levels. Thinking particularly about the foods that you eat, nourishing yourself well, and obviously hydrating to thirst levels are really important. And having that support, as usual, it's about really being able to focus on your baby and your own health and your own wellness when you're in postpartum and you're becoming a mother, even if this isn't the first time that you've become a mother. So thinking about things like postpartum doulas, or thinking about if you have a partner, if they can get more time off work, or whatever it might be that you need to have enough support around, so you're not holding everything else up as well, and that you're really able to nestle in and make the most of those weeks to conserve your energy. Another thing to bear in mind is that it does get a lot easier. As your baby gets older, they do breastfeed less. They go through peaks of breastfeeding more sometimes, but the majority, it is, the early days are more intense. So bear that in mind, that it's not going to be like this forever. It does change. They do stop breastfeeding. And one day they don't wake up in the morning really early and you won't get to sleep in. So it does change, but I know that it can be difficult. Reach out to others for support, because that can really help when you're feeling tired.